Hey guys, I'm Kara, and I love romcoms.
Hi, I'm Brooks, and I love Sprite Remix, the drink.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, but something we both really love is when you're having a really strong emotion, and so you sing a Beach Boys song.
And this is...
Just
Kiss
Me.
The podcast. I've been watching a lot of English anime lately. It's honestly pretty good.
Wow, like what?
There's like, it's called Austin Powers. And it's an isekai, actually.
Are you watching the sub or the dub?
I'm watching. I think that the I don't like how the dub actor does it. I like hearing the original subs.
I feel like sometimes I enjoy the energy of the dub, but I associate the voices with the sub.
Yeah,
you know?
It's always fun when like the guy who voices Dio, like he voices Basil Exposition.
Yeah.
So that's always fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know how you feel about Basil from Austin Powers. So.
Yeah, I know who that is, and
you love him,
and I'm telling the truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who else I know, and I am telling the truth when I say this.
Henry Roth.
I do know him. I went to Hawaii and he was there.
Yeah, I heard you met somebody.
Yeah. So it was really weird. I went to Hawaii. I was there for my cousin's wedding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was like,
I have this +1, and
I know exactly, and I went to this little bar and ordered a comically large drink, and while I was drinking it, being like, this menu says that it's an alcoholic drink, and I'm pretty sure I had to show my ID, so I'm very certain that I paid for an alcoholic drink. This guy slid up next to me and was like, he had a ukulele. And he starts playing it, and I was like, "This is so quirky and lovable." Yeah. And then he dipped his hand into my drink, and I was like, "Aw, that's sweet."
He was rifling around in there, and he was like, "I was touching walrus vomit all day.
Yeah, and
Do you like that? Does that remind you of your dad and brother?"
How did he know that my favorite place to be is the Florida Aquarium? That's my favorite place in the entire world.
And then, like, everything, like, you're
but
like,
then,
seeing him now?
Like, that's the thing is that the wedding happened, we had a great time, and then it was time for me to leave Hawaii, and I was like, hey, I would love if we could exchange contact information. I just love to have, like, a good, solid end to this experience.
I feel like we're, like, inyan. Like, we're, like, connected in some way.
He told me that we couldn't do that because he actually is his own evil twin.
Oh, and my God.
Yeah, the whole time, the first guy that I met that I fell in love with, who stuck his hand into my drink, that was him, and then his evil twin took over.
He got eaten? Oh.
By a walrus.
Oh, he got eaten. That's so sad.
So yeah, now...
This is like the second or third guy that's happened with you.
I know. Every time I go to Hawaii.
Yeah, you gotta stop going for a little while. Until things cool down over there.
Yeah. Huh. Man.
That's weird. When I went to Hawaii, I met a guy at a bar. I ordered sex on the beach, and they said virgin sex on the beach coming up. And they gave. I didn't hear that though, because I was pretending to be drunk. Because that's what I love to do is go to bars and pretend to be drunk to pick up men.
Yeah.
And then the guy came up and approached me and was like, "Hello, I'm in love with Drew Barrymore, but I'm getting over it."
Oh, cool.
And I was like, "That's great. Thank you for approaching me and like agreeing to go on this date with me." And he said, "Great." And then I was like, "I'm getting a little tipsy. What do you think?"
Whoa,
and then he was like,
crazy.
"You're a skank.
What?
And you're lying about being drunk, and I hate women." Aww. And I was like, "Why are you at the... Go on your boat that you built." Like,
yeah.
Why? I didn't do anything. I was trying to hang out with you.
Yeah.
And then he got eaten by a walrus as well.
Oh,
it was very sad.
Every time.
Yeah.
I wish there was a story where the main love interest didn't get eaten by a walrus. Do you know of one?
Well, on my dad's birthday every year, I like to drive into the countryside and pick up a walrus. That's all that I always enjoy doing. And one time I did that, and my mom died, and my brain fell out of my head.
No.
Yeah, and we had to put it back in.
Wow.
It's really sad.
That's cool. That sounds just like this movie I just watched called 50 First Dates.
Yeah.
Hey y'all, what's
now? If you want a better segue than that, you're gonna have to check out another Kevin James vehicle, which is the Segway in Paul Blart Mall Cop, which came out a few years after this. We're not talking. That does have some good romance in it, but not as good as this movie. And then that's no cap. That's real. I actually believe that.
And he does make a small little cameo in this movie.
He does. Yes.
So it is all relevant.
Yeah, I consider this to be a Kevin James movie just as much as an Adam Sandler or Drew Barrymore movie.
Yeah, that's what I always say. Mm-hmm. I consider this to be a Kevin James movie just as much.
This is probably where I met him, if I think about it.
Wow.
Like this was early Kev.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking about well, today, hey, what's up?
Hey, relax. Hang on. Let her speak.
Thank you. It always helps when I'm trying to talk and a man interrupts me to tell everyone.
That's right. That's what I'm here to do.
And that's what this movie is all about, baby.
Yeah, it's about how in this Adam Sandler dream world, a woman is a task that you have to sort of have to do it, and you don't ask her if hey, do you want us to upend our lives?
No.
To marry you and put babies
never do that
into you if you want, and then
everyone knows that women hate that.
Women hate to be asked their preferences in this Adam Sandler universe. Yeah. If it was my universe, things would look pretty different. Yeah. But I didn't make this movie, and Adam did. So
yeah, let's go, Mr.
So we're gonna explore the dream world of Adam Sandler.
Yes.
And where sometimes romance can just be I'm gonna find out all this information about a girl without her knowledge, and then I'm gonna use it to get her to marry me.
Yeah.
But in a cute way.
But it's kind of cute.
It's a fun. That's. Aww. I don't want to give away my thesis, too early, because we're still sort of circling the thing.
Yeah.
My feeling I feel like this is.
Speak on it.
I feel like this is a deeply evil movie.
Whoa.
Hear me out,
okay.
but it's not without its charms.
Yes, I feel exactly the same way. So if you didn't read the title of the episode, today we're going to be talking about 50 First Dates, which is a very classic rom-com. Came out in 2004, so it's an Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore joint. Mm-hmm. It's a very, I feel if you ask people what are classic rom-coms that you can think of, one of them I feel would be 50 First Dates.
Name 1 to 3 Adam Sandler / Drew Barrymore romantic comedy vehicles. This is one of them for sure.
And this is, I mean, for to me especially when I was small, this is one of the first romantic movies I think I saw. Yeah. That wasn't Disney movie where they also kids at the end.
Right.
This was probably one of the first rom-coms that I watched independently on my little portable DVD player in the back of the car. Yeah. As something that I really liked to do. But yeah, this movie has strong nostalgic ties for me, and I feel it is not necessarily. It's when we just watched this a second ago. Uh-huh. It is I had so many complicated feelings because I have I think that this movie has charms that we are going to get into and explore, but it also has bad.
It's a rich text. It's not. There's a lot to unpack.
But before we go diving in, just a reminder, we are obviously going to talk about the things that happen in the movie. So if you haven't seen it, we definitely recommend you watch it first, instead of having us tell you what happens. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it and then come back and meet us in an hour and a half. Sound good? But for those of you who have seen it or who love spoilers, stick around, hang out. We'll tell you. We'll talk about it. But yeah, I'd love to know what your kind of history with this movie is.
Sure.
Is this a recent find for you, or is this old gold?
It's old gold. That's what my family called it. That.
Whoa.
I grew up in what I would describe as a Sandler Carey household.
Whoa.
There was a lot of Adam Sandler, a lot of Jim Carrey movies percolating throughout my household.
Yeah.
My mom's car when I was growing up had a VCR in it. In her Lincoln Navigator that had a nice little screen that popped out in the front.
You were rich.
And yeah, we could watch Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
Wow.
And one of the VHSs that we eventually, or perhaps this might have been in my portable DVD era.
Whoa.
But I do also remember watching 50 First Dates in the car.
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of the first movies that I ever described as my favorite movie. I think I was old enough to be
Me also.
Yeah,
oh my god.
I remember being on a Carnival cruise in the kids area, and it's like, "What's your favorite movie?" And I was like, 50 First Dates. My dad grabbed the cardboard standee of 50 First Dates from the local Blockbuster back in the early 2000s and put it in our game room in my old childhood home.
Oh gosh,
so
I was room. Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff in the before the things that happened in 2008 were like really really great for people having a spare room in their house.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. It was mostly just like watching Jim Carrey and Adam Sandler movies for me growing up. This is a very formative flick for me.
How much would you say you've like rewatched it? Like, was us watching it like a big gap for you? Or?
I pulled up my letterbox. I last watched this in 2021.
Wow.
So I'd say over the long arc of my life, I've probably watched this movie a dozen times.
Yeah.
I'd say
that sounds.
Probably most of them between like 2004 and 2007.
Yes.
But I recently was like, with my sort of learned adult mind, let me dip back into this.
Yeah.
I guess in the throes of the pandemic, and I was like, let me put on a comfortable movie that will salve my troubled mind. And then it didn't do that, but it was still nice it was nice to go back and be like, oh, remember when the commercial like pretended that a penguin was going to get hit by a car?
Yes.
And then it tricks you?
That's funny.
It is funny. I'm laughing about it right now. Do you hear me laughing? That's me.
That's also me.
Don't cut my laughing out.
No, I won't. Don't worry. It's going to be in there.
Okay.
It's going to be real. Yeah, I have a very similar history with this movie. I've just found out.
Let's go.
I feel like before when we were like, we should do an episode on 50 First Dates, I like had the feeling that this was a movie that both of us likely saw in childhood, and now we're kind of revisiting again. But yeah, I have like a distinct memory of like finding the DVD of 50 First Dates within my family's little like DVD pile, or like bookshelf or whatever.
What a find.
Yeah. And I remember asking my mom, like, what is this? Because I don't know, something about the cover, like, looked interesting to me. And she told me, she was like, oh, it's like a love story. It's like I remember when I saw the first thing, I was like, oh, they're going to go on 50 dates in this movie. And that's what the movie is going to be. So when I popped it into my portable DVD player and watched it in the back of the car, I do remember being like, memory loss? What?
Yeah.
Why is this movie kind of sad?
I'm really glad you brought that up, because that was something that in my more recent watches, they only showed like 7 of the dates.
I know.
I even counted this time to make sure, and like there's a lot of first kisses that happen.
Yes.
And like I guess we can count each of those as probably a date that happened prior to that.
Yeah.
But like a good 30 to 40% of these dates are like, let's just take you to the brain hospital.
I know.
And it's like, that can be a date. A date can be anything.
A date could be anything.
But
I definitely, given the title of the movie, I thought we would get to see more date
I thought
footage.
it was going to be a short film comp of just like a bunch of little one acts of.
And I guess in theory, you could maybe count the various formulated meet cutes, but I feel like that's not a date. That's a meet cute. It's not a date.
They should have called it something that's closer to what actually they should have called it, like a lady hit her head and Adam Sandler's so sad about it. But the movie's mostly about him, is what I would call the movie. Henry's
a big asshole, but we love him anyway. Also, Lucy can't forget for Lucy. And ukulele. Henry's
racist adventure where he meets Drew Barrymore, starring Adam Sandler, is what I would have called the movie.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I too had an era where I called this my favorite movie. I no longer say that.
Oh.
It's been a while since I've said that, actually. And I think upon rewatching it for the first time in quite a few years, I would still not say that.
Right.
So, but it was on my little DVD rotation. This movie, Stick It, Pitch Perfect, when that came out at some point. I'm pretty sure I had like some Shreks in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. Oh, How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah. What's your so if this isn't, I know that this isn't your favorite movie in the history of cinema.
Yeah.
Would you consider it to be your favorite Sandler joint?
Ooh.
Like, is there any other Sandlers that speak to your heart a little better?
Oh man, now I have to think of Sandler movies. What does he?
We got The Wedding Singer, The Waterboy, Billy Madison.
I've never actually seen The Wedding Singer, even though I know all the songs from it.
Oh, you like it?
Would I?
You?
Is it the same?
It's Drew, but it's earlier.
Okay, I do like Drew.
Yeah, this was a big deal because it was like, oh my god, the Wedding Singer's getting back together again.
I guess if you had asked me this question like 2 hours ago, I think I would have said that this is my favorite Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah.
But you're asking me now, and I don't know if it is after rediscovering this movie. And
it might be none of the above. Have you seen like Hotel Transylvania?
No. I haven't seen a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have, but I haven't seen a lot of movies that are like the kind of movies that people ask you if you've seen.
Right. Yeah.
But I have seen a lot of movies that
don't have Adam Sandler in them.
Exactly.
In terms of those movies, you've seen a lot. Yeah.
I'm like scratching my brain to think of an Adam Sandler movie that I'm like, this is one that I really like. And
I pulled up my stats of my all-time movie watches, and Adam Sandler is my number one most watched actor of all time. I think I've seen like 38 movies that have him in it.
I also haven't seen his new serious one, Uncle Gems.
Yeah, I
did not see that.
It's stressful.
It it'll oh wow, very similar.
Yeah, in sort of a different way.
Okay,
but cool. Where the thing about Uncut Gems is like he's bad and the movie knows it.
Oh man,
that's a big sort of difference.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm stressed because I made a big bet that I shouldn't have. It was my that was money for my kids.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's just sort of like I'm sad because
I'm Henry and I'm a jerk.
My wife forgot about me.
I did one thing that I didn't realize about this movie until this watching of it is that I always just kind of assumed that he didn't like to get attached to women because he's an asshole. Yeah. And he's like, I'm a playboy and I don't get attached. I don't want whatever. But for the first time I watched it, it clicked for me that the movie is trying to sell you on the fact that he's a good guy. He just doesn't want to get attached because he's going on his big Alaska trip. Yeah. If he wasn't going to do that, he would probably be nice.
He'd get married to every one of those girls.
Yeah. I guess it never clicked in my brain that like that was supposedly a major argument for why he's a jerk. Yes. But the fact that they try to tell me that is one of the big reasons.
There was that weird hand wavy like conversation that like he has with his coworker who he respects.
Yeah, he loves her and respects her and would never make a terrible joke about it.
He says some shit where it's like, "Oh, my last relationship was my college girlfriend who broke my heart." And it's like, I'm not trying to, dispute anybody's, heartbreak experience.
Yeah.
But like, man, it's been 20 or 30 or 40 years.
I'll dispute it. That's not a good reason. That's a bad one.
Thank you. I wasn't brave enough. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. No problem. If you ever need someone to be brave, I'm really brave. But yeah, I guess we're already kind of talking about it, but I'd love to kind of get into this kind of idea of liking a movie. One of the main things that is on my brain about this movie is this idea of liking a movie because of the nostalgia around it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the feelings that you had when you were watching it when you were younger and your kind of memory of it versus the movie itself. Mm-hmm. And I think Henry being a terrible person is like a huge thing that I didn't realize when I was a child.
Nor I.
Yeah. Partially because there's a great many things about this movie that I did not understand as a child. Many jokes that I didn't know were there, and
I didn't know what an info was, just like that child didn't know. Yeah.
I too was like, I don't understand. I didn't know that throughout the entirety of the movie they make 17 jokes about dick and or balls.
Those are two really funny topics.
I counted, baby.
Pretty good.
It's kind of funny, but I feel like, if you're going to make dick and ball joke, you got to make it good.
There were more dick and ball jokes than dates in 50 First Dates.
Yeah, what's that about?
It should have been called 17 dick and ball references.
17 dick and ball reference. Dick and or ball, because sometimes it was just dick and sometimes it was just ball. Sometimes when, Harry, his name is Harry Testicles.
That's fucking, that's so funny.
But yeah, there's a lot to kind of be discovered about this character that when I was a kid, the movie did in fact convince me that if he's not necessarily a good person at the beginning, he at least becomes a good person, or he was a good person at heart. But this time, every single time he had a moment where you're kind of supposed to be like, oh, he's the reasonable guy in this situation, I was like angry about it. Like, it is not fair that the first person to say, hey, maybe we shouldn't absolutely freaking brainwash Lucy every single time that she wakes up maybe we should like try and actually address the issue at hand and try and help her live a normal life. That's not allowed to be you, Henry. You can't suggest that. You're a jerk. Yeah. It's not your place. Let someone else say that.
In a better movie, there's a scene where like Henry's buddy is like, hey, have you tried asking the woman? Like you've asked her a lot of stuff, but instead he's just like a very racist caricature being like, oh, what if she had a titty? Would you touch it?
Whoa. Nipple joke.
Nipple, dick and balls. I hate my wife.
Yeah. I hate my,
that's a big freaking wife.
That is a big trend that like every character at some point hates their wife, except for Adam.
Yeah, he's the first man to ever not hate his wife in this Adam Sandler universe.
Yeah, and I guess, well, if wife is dead, you're allowed to not hate her, because Lucy's dad also didn't hate his wife.
Yeah, she died of script disease. Yeah. We don't really get any...
She's dead.
Yeah. I was like... it's like they could have just put her in the accident as well. Like.
Yeah.
But I guess then it would have been, like, 50 first dates and also one funeral. Like, it would have been, like... It would have stolen the shine from Lucy a little bit.
I will say to have one of her discoveries every time be that. Also,
yeah, I guess that would be pretty tough. Yeah, that'd be a big one.
But they could have, like, I don't know, told us.
Yeah. Maybe she was mean. I don't know.
Yeah.
If she would have been like, righteous, let's go surfing.
Yeah. But yeah, Henry's not... And I mean, okay, another realization that I had throughout this, watching Adam Sandler as Henry interact with women, was he says things all of the time that any reasonable person would be upset. He says and does things that would elicit upset reactions. Yes. But in the world of Adam Sandler rom-coms, those things instead elicit a... Oh,
he's the Riz King. What can you say?
You're so... Stop. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yes.
Like, even though you just told me that you're terrible and that you are trying to convince me that I'm drunk or whatever, can I still sleep with you? Like,
please.
Shut up. And then I remember that this is like his movie and he gets to make those decisions. So it's like, I guess he would write himself as the Riz God.
He loves doing it. It's one of his things. I remembered moments, thinking about watching this movie when I was entering the Sandman mindset. Yes. Some scenes that I remembered, like I remembered when, he goes to like touch her Waffle House which is it's a house made of waffles.
It's literally a waffle.
Yeah. And then like there's one where it's like she's like, haha, you're so funny and quirky and you smell like my brother. I'm so into you.
Yeah.
And then the next time he tries it and she's like, are you from like a weird culture that like walks up to strangers and just like puts their nasty walrus hands all over their food? Yeah. I remember watching that as a kid and being like, oh, she's like totally standoffish and rude and nasty to Adam. And then like, and I feel like that's the way that I think that's like what the movie wants the viewer to feel is like, oh, she's being like a real like kind of like even like a B word. Like,
yeah. Whoa.
And like later on when like spoilers when it's like she wakes up and they're in bed together and it's like she's out of her mind.
Screaming
like
at
that would be a
him.
deeply terrifying thing to happen to anybody.
Yeah.
And they didn't even that scene is wild just because it's like they didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That thing happening.
How could you see a man getting beaten up on the side of the road and like retaliate using a bat in your car? You crazy.
Yeah,
my God.
Whoa. But you're also a quest that Adam Sandler has to capture. So you're also you also have like nice lips and I'm gonna sing a song to you.
Yeah, Forgetful Lucy.
It went kind of hard. It was kind of good.
That was a nice melody. The lyrics weren't good, but Forgetful Lucy and the little doo-doo was nice.
Yeah, it's cool that it's cool that he's like, he's kind of like the guy with an acoustic guitar at a party. Because like he is like Adam Sandler, the comedian, like he would always do like musical comedy and like, I'm going to make a funny song and put out a record. Brooks is going to listen to it when he's 8.
Oh, wow.
He wouldn't condone most of the jokes and bits on that today. Yeah. But when he was 8, he liked them a lot for the most part.
When he was 8? Oh, Brooks. Sorry.
Yeah, when Brooks was 8.
I thought you were saying that, like, I don't know, Adam saw the wrong in his ways.
No, he still has yet to do that.
He's the Sandman and he's a king.
Yeah, what can you say? You love him or you hate him, but he gets a response. And that's why he's a star, baby.
That's what art is all about.
That's what art. It's about strong responses, and that is what I felt throughout this entire movie. But yeah, he was like, I'm going to put a little thing, how can I write this scene about where I really make this girl fall in love with me. I know I'm gonna pull out the guitar and I'm gonna do a little F, A minor, G, C, and then she's gonna be mine.
Yeah. Henry is like a bad guy, and then also another thing that really stood out to me upon this watching was how terrible the whole memory loss situation was treated.
Speak on it.
It is I think I literally in my little notes wrote that it is an insane reaction to decide to trick somebody into thinking it's the same day every day in response to their memory issues. Like, that is an insane conclusion to come to of like, whoa, she lost her short-term memory? I guess our only thing that we can possibly do is make her think she's living the same day every single day. That's the best choice.
Yeah. There were even, like, we get these hints of, like, very small things that, like, the dad, Marlon, cool name.
Yeah.
2004,
like
big movie for
Marlon?
big year for dads named Marlon.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s. There's even, like, a moment when, like, he has the pineapple already because Lucy's like, hey, we were supposed to get a pineapple today because I think it's last year. And he's like, oh, well, the lady gave it to me and I'm gonna date the pineapple lady.
Yeah.
Which is clearly him being like, okay, I'm not going to go to get a pineapple today.
Yeah.
You could also be like, I painted the garage. Or the garage has termites. You can't go in there.
My biggest thing, I think, was there are some things that I guess if you are trying to convince somebody that they're living the same day every single day, there are things that make sense.
Yes.
However, one that does not at all is why does she have to wear the same clothes every day?
Yeah, she's a
that
cartoon
doesn't
character.
make any sense at all. Like, it is literally so easy to not have that be the thing that she has to do.
Could you imagine, like, it's today and you're wearing, like, a green shirt, and then you wake up the next day and you put on a yellow shirt, and you're like, boy, I was wearing a green shirt yesterday. My whole family's been lying to me for a year.
I was thinking to myself as I fell asleep last night, now what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to wear a pink shirt. And I wake up and the pink shirt I thought that I was going to wear is in the laundry, which can only mean that I wore it before.
Oh my God. The last time that I woke up and I thought I was being put in a situation where everybody around me was pretending that it was today.
Yeah.
I hate when that happens. I went up to the guy who stands in the corner of my room and holds a newspaper. And I was like, hey, give me today's paper. And he was like, oh, sorry, boss.
Yeah.
And then I realized that it was not October. It was actually current month.
Yeah.
And that was how I realized. So I would strongly recommend getting a guy to stand around and hold today's newspaper.
Yeah. And not he has to just kind of tuck it under his arm.
Yeah, and it has to be like a tense police situation that he's just sort of like standing and T-posing.
Yeah.
While also carrying a paper under his armpit.
I love to carry a paper.
He's cool. I like that guy. I would love if he returned in the sequel.
Yeah, I am actually going to add him. I made a little list of characters that I actually think are cool, and I'm going to add him to that list.
Yeah, newspaper guy.
Yeah.
It's a pretty short list.
Yeah, well, number one on the list is Lucy. Mm-hmm. Lucy's an icon. She's nice. She is perhaps one of the only nice people that exists. Literally everyone is mean to her for no reason. She doesn't do anything wrong. She's great.
No.
Next is Alexa, who is the coworker.
Yes. Who just gets like thrown in trash cans constantly.
Yeah.
And just people poop on her and pee on her.
She's like kind of an icon. IMO.
She's nice.
Like, she's nice. She may say a questionable thing or two, but I think that if we gave her the pen, she wouldn't have decided that that's the joke she's gonna say.
Yeah, and like the one time where she's like sexually forward, she's sort of like, hey, if you're down, I'm gonna be over here, and if not, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like she's very like, she's totally cool and normal.
Yeah, that's what I always say.
And Adam Sandler like looks into the camera and he's like, yuckaroo.
Yeah.
Ooh, tugging his collar.
Yeah.
Check please. And then like the walrus does like a rim shot.
Yeah. Next up is Doug, who is Lucy's brother, and he's not necessarily like a good person, but he is an icon.
Yes.
For wearing a mesh shirt all of the time and just kind of being a funny guy.
Yeah.
I even though he kind of sucks, he was still kind of incredibly charming as like a stupid side character.
I think it's very cool that like the actor Sean Astin, like he 3 years before this, he was one of the main characters in Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
And then he was like, how am I going to follow up? Like, we're working on the Two Towers and Return of the King right now. That's taking up a lot of my time. What am I going to do in my free time?
Yeah.
What if I was Doug in 51st Dates and I spent 90 minutes being like, I need to go to the wet dreams doctor. I'm very sick with wet dreams.
Very sick with wet dreams. And I have mesh shirt.
Yeah.
Honestly, he was wearing crop tops though. He was killing it.
We sort of touched on this. Like, there's a lot of characters in Adam Sandler's orbit in this movie. Sorry, Henry Roth's orbit in this movie, where like a lot of the guys like dress in like a silly way, like with like a mesh shirt and like short shorts, and like Rob Schneider, like he usually like has like a shirt on or like a funny little vest and short shorts.
Yeah.
And I was watching it and I was like, even like they are both conventionally more fashion forward than Adam Sandler. And watching it with 2023,
dresses like trash.
He's ever since that woman broke his heart in college, he refused to ever buy new clothes.
Bro,
and
I couldn't get over that in the big final emotional scene where he has his big speech that honestly has some nice lines in it.
Yeah.
He's wearing this blue shirt that's like too long for him and red shorts, and he looks like an idiot. And I want him
He looks like he's wearing his dad's shirt and he's 8. Like he looks like he just went to SeaWorld and like his clothes got wet and is like, here son, take my shirt.
He even had like some nice Hawaiian shirts that he was wearing every once in a while. And that is what they chose for his final outfit.
Yeah, his sort of spiritual race through the airport.
God.
That was
Lucy. I would have closed the door.
Yeah,
and torn all the paintings down.
And like I'm not, you might know this about me. I'm not like the most fashion forward person. Like I don't spend a whole lot of time or energy towards like how am I going to, what clothes am I going to put on today? But nonetheless, watching this, I was still there, like watching the Forgetful Lucy scene. I was like, why are you wearing like the world's largest Guy Harvey shirt during this? Because he has time to prepare. If I was like, literally, I in this universe, my one task is I need to go rizz up this woman. I don't know. I'm gonna pick a shirt that's like my size. I don't know. I'm gonna do it. But maybe it's just you said she's like one of the only nice people that exist, and she's not shallow.
It's true.
She doesn't love the clothes. She loves the man, and maybe she's better than me. Respect.
Yeah.
Respect Lucy. Respect Adam. I love your relationship.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from Adam today in this.
Wow. Me too. I think the final thing that we wanted to discuss a little bit to kind of round out this idea of like loving a movie for nostalgia versus what the reality of the movie is the setting of the movie.
Yeah.
Why is it Hawaii?
Yeah, so that was something that I was chewing on while watching, because I think the best answer that I could come up with, like if I was in my press conference selling this movie, I think it would make sense to be in like a tropical climate. Okay. Because if you're trying to make it reasonably look like an October day every day, like you can't live somewhere where it's going to snow. Yeah. Like I guess you could sort of, wow, it's a hot one today or it's a cold one, but like it's not as, I guess, like visibly variable. But I think it was because Adam Sandler wanted to go on a nice vacation while filming. Because all of his movies from like this point on are like, it's grown-ups and we're going on a fun camping retreat with all of my friends in real life. And also I think what that does is it makes nearly all of the Hawaiian characters like just comic relief. Yeah. Which we've sort of danced around the Rob Schneider of it all. But he was not on your icons list, and I think for good reason.
Yeah, I just kind of...
You weren't rocking with Oola.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel a strong connection to Oola personally. Did you?
No.
Okay, cool. Good. I'm glad we're on the same page.
And it didn't get a whole lot of like rich character moments from his children who all have the exact same characteristics.
To be fair, this list wasn't just of nice people, it was of icons. Because if it was of nice people, I would have put, I think her name is Sue, the like diner, the waitress.
Yes. The waitress who also seems to be like the owner sometimes.
Yeah. She was very nice, and I would have put her on the list, but this is it was an icons list, which is why guy who sucks at this job is on the list.
Guy Who Sucks at This Job was great.
lines, but they're some of the best part of the movie, which is where
Yeah. And that's like one of the Sandman's buds. Like he was always showing up in like The Waterboy or in all the other Sandman movies, and you never know what you're gonna get. It's always a grab bag.
What's he gonna say?
They're always either the best or worst part of the movie, and I think Guy Who Sucks at This Job was a real powerful force.
Yeah, wow, I'm gonna remember that forever. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting I think this is it is a normal Sandler movie thing to have those like random little cutaways, random little scenes of like side characters having a little joke. But in this one, there was just a lot of them that really were questionable. Like there was just like man who is Chinese, I guess, and says things, and it's like, oh, that was thanks, Adam.
Yeah, that's a classic Sandler joint.
Good job.
Yeah, there was 10 Second Tom, classic bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole section on the Wikipedia page that's like depiction of amnesia.
Yeah.
And if you can believe it, a lot of it is not necessarily accurate.
Yeah, I was constantly writing in my notes like that's not how memory works.
No, I don't.
Especially just okay, there's the actual depiction of amnesia, which is wrong, but it's also, there's the part of it that's like being used for comedy, which is mean.
Yeah.
But there's also the part of it that's like, I can't get super mad about the fact that we're deciding that she remembers everything in a day and then forgets at night, because it's like it's a movie.
It's a fun premise.
I like Memento, whatever, sure. But it's just how Lucy is treated and the absolute insanity of the choices everyone around her is making. Like,
yes.
At some point she literally is like, I decided that I'm going to write a journal so like I can kind of experience myself telling me things that I forget instead of everybody else. And it's like, how has it gotten that far? And even now that we're deciding she's not going to live the same day every day, our first thought wasn't, she should have like a journal. How is our first thought to do literally some other weird convoluted, like, we're gonna make her watch this
We're gonna
video.
have to buy paint every day.
And we're gonna... Yeah, the fact that it wasn't, nobody considered maybe she should have a journal until, like, well into the period of time where she is now actually, like, trying to live each day as a new day. She had to be the one that's like, maybe I should have a journal.
Yeah, it'd be cool if she had like a friend.
That would be crazy.
It'd be cool. A version of this movie.
Did she not have friends before the accident? Like what?
Yeah.
Did they all die?
If this movie passed the Bechdel test, maybe all the problems would be solved. But it does not.
No.
Yeah, maybe she was friends with her mom. I don't know.
Aw, Mom. Did they ever say when her mom died? Like, did she know her mom, or was it like a? I feel like I don't remember. I know they didn't talk about Mom enough for me to know. Maybe
the Sue, who I feel like is the one Hawaiian character who like has like any personality beyond like the joke of the scene.
Yeah.
She had the one thing where it's like, your mom said that I told your mom that I'd always take care of you. So I guess you could say that about a child of any age.
Yeah.
But it feels like she's kind of long gone.
Yeah. Yeah, wow, I didn't realize until now that Lucy literally doesn't have any friends.
Yeah.
Other than, like, Sue. And Ula.
Yeah, like, when she was like, I've been writing this journal every night, I was kind of like, oh, rich internal life. Like, we haven't gotten an inkling of that whatsoever. My God. Even when it's like, okay, guys, I'm going to bed. It's like, we don't see her going to bed. Like, we don't, it's like, you are no longer, we are resetting you. We will see you in the morning.
Yeah.
The story's not about you. You are the prize. You are not the character. That is driving the action.
Yeah, I feel like even any time that we visited her house, it was almost always without fail to center the part of the story around the brother and the dad.
Right.
Which is wacky.
I don't think we saw her room unless Adam Sandler was in it.
And she yells at
funny.
him. And it's funny.
I will while we're talking about the pop though. I was honestly pretty impressed with, like, I think the dad was doing a pretty good job acting in this movie.
Yeah.
I was, he's another one of, like, the Sandman cohort who, like, he plays Farmer Fran in The Waterboy.
Whoa!
Which is a character that introduced me to the sort of Louisiana Cajun accent. He's sort of doing that throughout the movie, and I didn't know what he was doing until many years later. But yeah,
origin story.
Yeah, I learned a lot from that movie. I've learned a lot from Adam Sandler.
Wow.
And
another thing that Adam Sandler has taught.
Yeah.
The youth of today.
So he's functionally like the guy who sucks at his job in that movie. And then he seems like he was probably, I would say, like the strongest. Like there's a lot of sadness in those old eyes about how it sure is sad that I gotta watch this Vikings game every day to make my daughter happy. Even though nobody told me that I have to do this. And we could maybe talk to the doctor at the institute that I live right next to that's about traumatic brain injuries.
That would be crazy. You can't do that. You can't. Nope.
That's what I was even like. There's also a through line that was bugging me a little bit. If I can just talk down on it a little bit. Oh, no,
please tell us. Oh, my God.
It feels like if maybe everybody wasn't so wealthy, maybe that could be like if it's like, we can't afford inpatient treatment. So like we have to sort of do this. And we're happy to because we love her, but it is like a strain on us. Like that would make a lot more sense to me. I also don't understand why Adam Sandler is so independently wealthy, because he seems to just be like cleaning up walrus vomit at the zoo all day. And he built a boat. He built a boat and he built it himself. We learned that explicitly. Yeah. And it's seaworthy enough to go to Alaska.
Not at first, though.
Not at first.
In the beginning, it's bad.
So that's another thing. I want to talk about this movie a lot.
Okay.
So yeah,
You're in the perfect place.
Thank you for having me. It's been building for 20 years. So when he's driving his boat and the boom, the big wood thing that the sail goes on falls down and almost beheads him. Classic scene.
Yeah.
I'm not Henry Roth. I'll never be Henry Roth. I would maybe not bring my heavily pregnant wife who is also living with, severe amnesia. So I wouldn't, anything that I would have to reteach her basic seaworthiness every day and watch out for the boom mic. It might behead you. I would maybe not take her.
What?
For her own safety.
Why?
Because she could get beheaded by the big wooden spike that almost beheaded Adam Sandler. And he's been doing it for years. And he loves the ocean. We don't know if Lucy likes the ocean or if she just likes the smell of her brother's hands.
I don't
You're not seeing a problem.
I don't see any issues.
Well, let me think. Hang on. Let me listen back to what I just said.
Okay,
I just listened back to it. You're right.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know what I was just drinking this big blue drink, and I'm getting a little tipsy.
You get a little sniff of your dad's hand after you went fishing.
This
weirdest.
This tastes like my brother's fingers. I'm feeling this.
I hate that that was a thing.
And they got Missy Pyle. That was Missy Pyle, a real, actual, funny comic actress. Just to be like, can you want to go to bed with Adam Sandler, and then he calls you a hussy for some reason.
After admitting that he's a terrible person, can he then somehow manage to turn the tables on you that you're the bad person in the situation?
That's what you get for me not being able to be with the woman I love right now.
Yeah, take that, women.
That's what you get for going to a bar and trying to meet somebody.
Don't
ever
wrecked,
do that again. Get
women.
Wrecked, loser.
Loser. Yeah. Wow, there truly are a rich many things to talk about this movie that are not good. And not necessarily that this next topic I'm going to bring up is good, but totally. Something that I do like to highlight here on Just Kiss Already. We do one thing that is very, very important to media in general, but especially the kind of category of media that is romantic in nature, would be cliches, baby. They are the backbone of romance.
That's so true.
Yeah, that's what I always say. You've heard me say that. I say it all the
time.
Yeah,
I was wondering.
Thank you.
Oh, it's for the show. Okay, that's why you say it all the time.
Yeah. But yeah, I noticed some cliches that I wanted to expand on a little bit. I think the first and perhaps the biggest one that this movie hits on is the kind of idea of a meet cute, because literally a good 60% of this movie is Adam Sandler fabricating meet cutes so that Drew Barrymore will fall in love with him on a new day. And it's kind of, I feel like funnily enough, I don't think any of the meet cutes that he fabricates are like the type that I would like normal meet cutes that I would think of. They're all like really wild and zany.
What if I touched your pancake?
Yeah. But I think what's even kind of crazier to me is that the initial meet cute that happens, which is the incidental meeting at the diner, and she's building a little Waffle House, and he decides that he's going to give the waffle a little door, a hinge with a toothpick.
It's a cute little door.
Yeah, it's that, and then they naturally start talking, and he uses his natural charm and riz to kind of like have a nice conversation and have her like him enough that she wants to meet him the next day. And then obviously we have the memory loss reveal, and then it turns into him being absolutely insane every single time.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Fabricating the craziest things in order to get her to talk to him. And it's like it literally worked the first time. You can just be normal, and she likes that apparently. Like,
yeah, and he was like, I gotta destroy my car's radiator and make her worry about me.
I can't read.
I think it was really cool when like he was having the conversation with his racist friend, and he was like, "It's evil. I don't know if I should pursue this. Like ethically, it feels bad." And then we cut to him going back to the diner for his mute cute of the day, and he starts using Lucy to make money because he makes a bet with the cook.
I also wrote that. I was like, how did this turn into a bet? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's like I really actually really love and deeply care about this woman who is like in a really vulnerable spot, and I really want to show her true love. I'm going to win $20 by getting her to fall in love with me.
That is the most romantic thing a man can do.
Yeah, is win $20.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed because I feel like when I was younger watching this movie, the kind of like meet cute montages were some of my favorite parts of the movie. And it sucks to watch it again and be like, this is actually bad.
Yeah.
I do want to say that I think the kind of idea of having these like recurring different meet cutes of like trying to find different ways to make somebody fall in love with you at its core and base is could be a good idea. And in an alternate universe, this movie is actually like a really cool exploration of like many different timelines of how this relationship could have started and gone. A lot like a play that I really like a lot called Constellations. Just gonna plug that there. It's a good read. You should pick it up. But yeah, I feel like this idea could have been really cool, and it's not.
It's not cool.
It's not cool. It's really bad.
But you weren't looking into Adam Sandler's like soulful, sparkling eyes.
No.
And like that's something that he really loves. You gotta watch The Wedding Singer because they blast him with ring light so hard.
Let's go.
He's like a sensitive I'm a wedding singer, but when's my wedding?
When's my wedding?
And anytime there's a scene where he's trying to be serious, the whole Big Dipper is in his eyes.
Wow.
Which I'm like, I've seen you on SNL, dude. Your eyes don't usually do that.
I know that your eyes don't usually do that. But you can't lie to me.
Whenever it's Click and he's like writing a nice note that's like forever and ever, babe, Kate Beckinsale, here you go. Yeah. Like you don't see pupil at all. It's all just you're looking into the sun.
Yeah. Wow. And what a son he is.
Yeah,
a sunny side up.
Wish he was my
egg.
Son. Yeah,
he gets called an
egg.
That's
another thing where like I never thought that before.
Yeah.
This movie,
and then they absolutely
it's a really
destroyed him.
You know, we all have our minor bodily stigma, but like I don't like I'd never even like heard anybody be like that motherfucker's got a weird head.
Yeah.
It's it's a reasonably normal head. I don't know.
Yeah, they were really hitting on him with the whole egg thing. And part of me is like, is it his head or is it maybe his like the haircut he always has that's like really short and just shows off the roundness of his head?
Yeah, maybe like the original script was like getting his ass for his clothes, and he was like, "This hurts my feelings. Let's change this to something that I'm actually not sensitive about."
Blue shirt.
Yeah.
Hey.
I like wearing as many clothes as possible here in Hawaii.
Yeah. Man, I have to say, present me is very disappointed in the meet cute cliche of this movie.
Yeah.
It could have been nicer. Another big theme of this movie, another big cliche that we see is this idea that asshole gets feelings and becomes a nice guy, or we discover there was a heart of gold under there the whole time because a girl is pretty and he likes her and he wants to give her a kiss.
He does want to very badly. He
so
says
badly. That's kind of like what this whole movie kind of hinges on, is this idea that, like, because I mean, obviously at the beginning he is not portrayed to be a nice person.
Right.
It's the very first opening scene is this idea that he constantly is meeting tourists and kind of like giving them the weekend of their dreams and then making up a lie as to, and also, I mean, while he's hanging out with them, he's making up lies and then finally making up a big lie to kind of convince them that they can never talk to him again.
Right.
Which I would say isn't a thing that a good person would do.
No, I don't think
that's my take on that.
No, you would never catch me doing that.
Yeah. But then the entirety of the rest of the movie, he is constantly treated as the only person who, like, sees sense and, like, has good ideas and, like, characters that are zanier than him, I guess, are doing ridiculous things, and he gets to be the guy who, like, has the reaction and is like, man, you're crazy. High five, walrus.
Yeah, he loves being just a little bit quirky, but very much the straight man in every environment where, like, he needs to get a quip off.
It was truly wild to me how often he is like the guy who is the only one who could possibly suggest, like, hey, what if we don't make her live the Truman Show? What if we instead treat her like a normal person and, like, help her through her traumatic brain injury? What if we did that? That would be crazy.
And then other times, I guess he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed and he's like, let's try this. And if it traumatizes her, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just one day. Who cares?
It's really cool.
We'll just press reset on the woman and then she won't know about it. Cool.
It'll be fine.
Cool, Adam. Thanks.
Yeah. And this is not like a new thing, this idea that, like, person who is bad or mean actually has a heart underneath, and
sure.
the good side of them is shown by them falling in love. And that's not necessarily a good cliche to start with, but I feel like this is an example of when I don't even kind of, like, feel sympathy for Henry.
No.
And I'm honestly kind of mad that he's treated as, like, the hero.
Yeah, it's the Sandman keeps getting away with it because that is something that recurs in all of his films. Which I think is why people liked Uncut Gems so much, because it's like the one time where the narrative actually punishes him for doing bad things.
I haven't seen it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a laugh riot.
Oh, I'll bet. That's what I hear.
But yeah, that one's not even about him developing feelings. So that one, it's very outside of his wheelhouse.
Wow.
But he loves to be like, I'm a player, but then I saw, like, a pretty girl and that's all that I know about her, but she's the one.
Yeah.
And one day I'll talk to the woman, but until then, actually, I'm nice suddenly.
Actually, whoa, just kidding. I'm nice.
I saw a pretty and I'm nice now.
I'm nice, and I have the highest charisma of any person you've ever seen in your entire life.
I'm rolling nat 20s constantly, and I'm heartsick. I need her. I'm down so bad.
And the kind of final cliche that I want to highlight, just because so much of this movie, I think, kind of, like, hinges on or is based on other cliches that exist, but because this movie is so specific about its content, it's kind of hard to call them cliches. But one that they definitely cover is I'm breaking up with you, but it's for you. It's not because I want to break up with you. It's because I'm going to give you a better life by breaking up with you, and this is the best idea. She
hates sharing her rich inner life, and she loves contributing to his.
Yes.
That's her favorite thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. She doesn't have, like, thoughts or desires or things that she cares about.
She runs to the Walrus Factory and she's like, do you know anybody here who wears a big t-shirt? There he is.
Finally. I've been looking for
Henry,
this guy.
you gotta kill me because you gotta kill me because otherwise you'll be sad. What?
There are a lot of moments I don't like about how this movie decides to treat Lucy, but I think the one that I hated the most was there's a point where after one of her big bad days where they decide they're going to go to the hospital, the specific memory loss hospital, I guess.
That they live right next to. That they're just, we don't like going there.
And she kind of, like, asks Henry, she's like, oh, and you're, like, my Are we dating? Or something, or like, she says some kind of vague thing about him, and Dad is like, actually, you're kind of dating him, and I'm like, they're literally not.
No, that's not what that is. That's two people need to be in knowledge that they're doing that.
They haven't had a single like conversation that lasted enough time for them to be dating at this point.
That's one of my things about dating, is that like it's important to me that the girl knows that I'm dating her. That's a big thing for me.
Why?
And I don't know, it's just one of my, everybody has their things.
I think it's like charming when somebody tricks me into
yeah.
It's like one of my favorite things that person could do to me.
Yeah, you like when you're like, I'm having a breakfast for one, and then you look down and somebody's elbow deep in your soup.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, we're dating now.
It's like, wow, that's my dream relationship.
I've been waiting so long for somebody to come and just get elbow deep into my fucking minestrone.
I feel like if I was sitting in my favorite diner having my nice peaceful breakfast, and a man started wailing across the way, and I approached him with pure intentions, a heart of gold, in hopes to maybe help him out, and found out that he can't read, and I was like, I'm gonna help this guy. And for some reason, what solved everything was me telling him I before E except after C. That is how reading works.
Yeah, there was some specific expertise that you specifically could bring into the situation.
And throughout the entire experience, I did get the sense that he was lying about it. I was like, there's no way this guy actually doesn't know how to read. I'm pretty sure he's making up this whole thing so that he can get a date with me.
But he's got the sauce.
I would be charmed beyond belief.
Yeah.
I would marry him on the spot. That is the nicest thing that a man can do. It is not manipulative or bad in any way.
I know one thing about this man, and it's that he's lying to me. So let's build on that.
Let's go, Adam. Let's go. Where's the couch in the aquarium that you live on, I think?
Yeah, and there's no curtains, so all your friends can watch.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
That scene where like they're kissing on the futon, and he looks up to see that his racist friend is giving him a thumbs up, and Drew Barrymore is just completely immobile, just like looking up into the lights for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing in the script for her to do while she's doing that.
And she's not curious about what could be going on.
No,
as to
she's
why
like,
Adam Sandler
we're not kissing, but I don't know, maybe I don't know, this is our first time doing it. Maybe this is one of his things where he just wants to stretch his neck for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I better not say anything or make any comment or even move my neck whatsoever.
No. That would, nope.
No.
Yeah, I think that's all of the cliches that I've got. But
otherwise, it was like really original. And
that's what I always say. Yeah. Technically, I mean, like there is a big cliche in romance movies that is memory loss, but like that's not really what we see here. It's like a different type.
Yeah.
It's plot device amnesia is not quite. I guess, but it's like usually they don't do it this way.
Right. I did like the Sue like specifies. She's like, so she has amnesia. She was in like a bad car accident, and in the universe of this movie let me explain it to you, the audience.
Yeah, because I still don't understand what you're saying.
It's like the hippocampus and the cerebral fluid. When she goes to sleep, she don't remember it.
Oh, I get it. Oh.
Yeah. So, and you did also bring up the like, we didn't get to see any sort of like testing of like what we mean by sleep or like.
Yeah, one of the thoughts that I think I've had every single time that I've watched this movie is, I'm sorry, did nobody, based on the wild conditions of this memory loss, nobody thought, what if she pulls an all-nighter? Does she stomach it?
Yeah, like what if, Lucy, do you want to go on a date where like we drink Mountain Dew and like we just like eat Doritos and like watch wrestling?
Nothing more than to go on a date where we drink Mountain Dew. I think that's the best date in the entire world.
I'm always going to breakfast diners and one Mountain Dew for one, please. And I'm just waiting for somebody to just like put their face in my drink.
Yeah.
And I was even like, what if she got like appendicitis and like she had to go get like a surgery? Like, is she waking up and she's like, what? And like, what if she's just like watching a boring movie and she just like dozes off for like a second, but it's not REM sleep?
Yeah. What about having like a little nap? What does that do?
Yeah. What if she just like blinks for too long?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why I wish this movie was an hour and a half longer.
What if she goes on a plane and changes time zone? and she gets jet lag.
Oh, she's in Hawaii. That's going to happen a lot. Anytime she wants to go to the mainland. Fuck.
Oh, man. You also mentioned that you noticed some recurring things that the Sandman himself may do through many of his movies that you wanted to highlight.
Yeah,
I believe you called them.
We're always
Sandler-isms.
Yeah, we all love the Sandman to varying degrees.
I'd love to learn.
Yeah.
So please.
So growing up and watching a lot of these sort of like, this isn't really as raunchy as his other fare, but I would classify most of his work as just sort of like raunchy, sort of like proto Judd Apatow, kind of just like, there's a group of like, I don't know, it's targeted at like class clowns ages like 10 to 25.
Yeah.
And I was in that group for a while, so I watched a lot of these flicks, and there are a lot of recurring sort of motifs and characteristics that his protagonists continue to have.
Yeah.
One of which we've definitely already touched on, which is just beautiful women just like throwing themselves at him.
Yeah, can't get enough of him.
And him being disgusted by it.
Yeah.
He hates when beautiful, shallow Stacys are like,
how could they?
Adam Sandler, I'd really like to get to know you better. And he's like, get out of here. And also, that drink's not alcoholic. I hate when women lie.
Yeah.
It was like weird when I found out that in real life he was happily married, because I was like, it seems like you got some retrograde views
I
about...
feel like every time you open your mouth in a movie about a woman...
Yeah, it seems like you don't like hanging out with them. I don't know. Another big thing is that he loves to always like win physical altercations. Yeah. He very rarely loses.
When Doug is like, I'm gonna take you down, I immediately was like, yeah, Doug's winning that fight. Look at the two of them. And then
his whole thing is that he takes steroids.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler just lowers his hips and just Muay Thais him like over his shoulder. And
how did he do that?
Immediately gets him into actually a pinning predicament. So yeah, he could have counted the 1, 2, 3 right there. Yeah. And I was like, I know that I'm going to be on the lookout for him winning a fight, because that happens in a lot of his movies. Yeah. Before the physical fight, there are also just like all those moments where like he's winning, arguments where like he's arguing with Rob Schneider in front of his kids, and like the kids are all laughing at his jokes and being like, "We don't like you, Dad. We like Adam Sandler's funny joke about how a shark ate your kidney." Yeah. On that note, he's always hyper competent at his job. Yeah. He's always just like, he has really good like he's either really good at like football or golf or like walrus surgery.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever been bad at something.
No. There's also, unfortunately, there's always like some sort of like hypersexual woman in the movie, like who Alexa in this movie, who's always just like very sexually aggressive, like made up in a way that's like not conventionally attractive or conventionally feminine, and like that character is like, Adam Sandler's like, I gotta write a comedy, what's something that's funny, and then he thinks about it for 0.001 seconds and comes up with that. And then those are really the main ones. He's really good at everything. He really hates women. And they all love him. And then he puts all of his buddies in a million little bit parts, some of which are funny and some of which are not.
Not at all. Wow. You know what? I feel like now that you've told me all of the things that Adam Sandler does all of the time, I changed my mind. This is a perfect movie. There's nothing wrong with it. All of that is good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know we have a couple other things to get to, but like, let's call it and go watch The Waterboy.
You're right.
Wow, that was so funny. He was so good at football.
I will say, we've been dunking on this movie, as we should, as is our right, and as is
there are a handful of problems with it. However,
I do want to kind of like we opened about this movie at the beginning. There are so many things about this movie that are not good. However, I think aside from just nostalgia, one of the reasons that this movie for the longest time has lived in my memory, and honestly, even after that rewatching, still kind of lives in my memory.
I don't hate this movie. I really don't.
It does have some really good moments. That I'm not gonna say that it has good moments, so it's a full good. No, there's still problems with it. But
no, I would have written many things differently. However, this is the movie that we got, and I'll engage with it on those terms.
Yeah, So I do want to talk about some of our favorite moments. Some of what I would call, and what I have called many times on this podcast, as rewatch moments for me.
All
things
right.
that kind of make this movie worth rewatching. Because I did rewatch it a lot as a child, and I just rewatched it now. And I'm probably going to rewatch it again in the future.
Right now.
And right now. I'm going to turn around, turn off the computer, and go back.
Oh, that was a good rewatch. I like it a lot more this time.
But there are things about this movie that have a lot of charm and are actually sweet, especially romance-wise. Because we also mentioned how this is one of Adam Sandler's movies that has more romance than usual.
Yes. Yeah, I was like by the second act, like the first act is really like, well, I'm in this quote unquote exotic location and look at all these quote unquote kooky characters.
Yeah.
But like by the time like the Lucy family and Adam are sort of hanging out, I was watching it and I was like, I'm not only not laughing, but I'm not feeling like compelled to laugh.
Yeah.
And that's not a problem. Wait, that's because I'm being compelled by the romance.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Do you want to maybe just like go back and forth?
Yeah, I think you might have more bespoke moments than me, but yeah.
Some of these are like multiple points about one.
Yeah.
One of the first things that I really like is this whole idea that she only sings on days she meets you, where they kind of find out that every time that Lucy meets Henry later when she's painting her mural, she's singing everybody's favorite Beach Boy song, "Wouldn't it be nice if we were on her?" And this idea that like even though she doesn't necessarily like remember him next day to day, whatever have you, the fact that like he has a positive influence on her day, it's
sweet.
Kind of cute.
Yeah.
Cute.
Mine I guess is like meta cute. But when they go to the Callahan Institute, which is the brain center that they go to, Dan Aykroyd is he's the brain man, and that's what
brain
they call
man.
him. And he was like, my ears perked up when I saw that it was the Callahan Institute, because another sort of like not Sandler movie but Sandler universe sort of like adjacent movie that I really love is Tommy Boy, which is the Chris Farley, David Spade. Chris Farley and Adam Sandler were very good friends.
Yeah.
And like Tommy Boy, the auto parts, it's a whole story about how Tommy is like, he's inheriting his dad's auto parts company, Callahan Auto, and he's like silly and how can he do it, but he has got a heart of gold.
Cool.
And there's even a point where like, so I was like, oh, that's a cute little homage potentially to Tommy Boy. And then there's even a scene where like Dan Aykroyd is like monologuing while Adam Sandler is making puppy dog eyes, where he's like, our automobiles are serviced by Callahan Auto, and Dan Aykroyd was like the other antagonist auto parts person in that movie. So it was a cute little like, he's honoring his buddy Chris Farley. Like that was very sweet. Thank you, Adam. Respect.
I also like, there's a lot of, I guess, kind of unique to the situation of this movie, like lines and moments of romance that I really like a lot. One of them is when Lucy says, "I don't want you to strike out tomorrow." Once she kind of like knows what's going on a little bit, or one of the days that she knows what's going on, she does like turn to him and she tells him like, I don't want you to strike out tomorrow, so like you should get me some lilies. And it's like, oh. Yeah,
it's kind of like, I wish that was happening from the beginning, because it's like, oh, she's like kind of like helping, and like she's sort of she's in on it to the extent that she at least can be. You know what? In another universe, this movie is about Lucy, who has this very specific type of memory loss that I don't think exists in real life. Script disease.
And she knows about it from the beginning, and it is like a story of them kind of together finding a way to like make this relationship work.
Imagine that. Imagine a movie about both of them instead of about him.
In another world.
Yeah.
Another one is one of the things that Henry says is, "I like you and you like me most days." Yeah. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's the like. I like that like sort of self-deprecation a lot more than the like, my freaking head's an egg.
Yeah. My freaking head's an egg.
Yeah. Even though everybody in this universe is like crawling over themselves and like humiliating themselves just to like touch me, but I'm like, I got egghead.
And I think the biggest of which, probably one of the most notable things about this movie is there's nothing like a first kiss, where every time they kiss, it's a first kiss. Yeah. She says there's nothing like a first kiss. I think the first time she says nothing beats a first kiss, and then another common iteration is there's nothing like a first kiss.
Yeah.
There's one time where she says, "How about another first kiss?"
Yeah, that one was good.
And then when they decide that they are going to part ways, she says, "One last first kiss. Can I have one last?" And it's like, oh, that's good.
It's pretty good.
Damn it.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore's got the sauce.
I really like Drew Barrymore.
Yeah,
I think she's great, and I wish that she had more.
Yeah.
I wish that Lucy had more agency in this movie, because Drew Barrymore could have cooked.
Like, I don't think I have, like, strong feelings towards any talk show host, except for, like, when I hear that there's the Drew Barrymore show now, where she's, like, always just, like, sitting on the floor with people and being like, tell me about your movie and let's hold hands. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense.
Thanks, Drew.
Respect to Drew. We're gonna get you into some movies where you have speaking roles in the future. All of the sort of I guess world building, all of the specifics about how we've talked about the sort of the ethics of creating this dream world for Lucy. However, I thought it was cool to see the minutia of like of like they have to watch a recording of a football game and like they make bets because they know what's gonna happen. Yeah, like the getting the new newspaper, repainting the walls, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. I have that in my brain, and it sits right next to the sort of like cosmic horror of like, because there's even the scene in the movie where it's like, hey, isn't it going to be like really like hard and traumatic, like to wake up one day heavily pregnant and like not knowing what's happening? Yeah. And they're sort of like, yeah, that does seem hard. Anyways, let's skip to a couple years down the line so we don't have to get in there. Yeah.
The very first time that Henry encounters Lucy's dad and he kind of like chases her out, it's like part of me is like, Henry's a terrible guy, and yes, rightfully so. Yes. However, the logic behind that is this idea that's like, because of the situation that my daughter is in, she can never find love. Therefore, I never want anything like this to happen to her. And it's like, do you know what you're saying right now? Right. That I mean, yeah, Henry's a terrible guy, and yes, chase him out, like, please. Yes. But also, like, there is, it walks such a line of, like, treating Lucy like a child. Yes. It's never, I would say, necessarily explicitly done in the way that we kind of see it done with the other memory loss patients. Yes. However, it's so, like, we've kind of talked about how it's like, yeah, she's treated like she can't make any decisions. She's this prize to be won, whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she's treated like she's going to break if she finds out that she was in a car accident. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, that is, as we learn, that is going to be a terrible moment of like realization. But then, unfortunately, it's Henry who brings this to our attention. The whole thing is like, but that is a terrible thing to realize, but so is realizing that every single day you've lived has been this fabrication. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of the big thing that's really causing her to break down, isn't it? Not just, oh, you had a big accident and you do have a brain injury, and yeah, like, that's rough. But also, did you know that it's not your dad's birthday? Never has been. He doesn't have
He's 0 years old. Your dad's a baby and you have to take care of him.
There is a kind of funny joke that Henry makes that's like, what are you, 200 now? And it's
that's like, a good joke.
That's actually less days than a year is, so you should have gone for a higher number. Yeah. But that was a good joke, Henry.
Did you learn that in walrus school? I feel like a better script writer, like, because I feel like there's like a seed of like a slight explanation that is not found, but I feel like with the dad Marlon, there was like the seed of like, I tragically lost my wife very young, like, so I don't really believe in love anymore, or like, so I'm very, negative towards, Lucy, like on top of all of the other stuff.
Yeah, you could also build that with like, I lost my wife, I don't want to lose my daughter too.
Yeah, like, totally. There's a lot of angles, but they're just sort of like,
there's a lot there that you could actually work with.
I feel like it's a fantasy premise, but like, it's a fantasy premise that you could do in an interesting way.
Like, I know I'm watching a movie and it doesn't have to, like I said, like, I'm not bothered by the fact that the memory loss that Lucy has is not real. Yeah, I don't, because it's like I'm watching a movie, it's whatever.
Yeah, I don't like the cars talk. Yeah, that's fine.
Sure, that's fine. Another thing that I like is, I kind of mentioned it before with the She Sings on Day She Meets You, but this kind of recurring Beach Boys song, the wouldn't it be nice if we were on it. I feel like moments with that, the way that song is worked into the movie with how she sings it when she meets him, and then the final scene with he's out on the boat and he's singing it and sobbing, and then he has the realization. Which, that's another thing, is that I feel like when I was younger and I watched it, I was like, oh, he figured that out on his own, and I realized this time that the dad literally tells him by being like, oh, she's even singing again, and it's like, it's because I remember you. But that is something that I really like about this movie, is how they draw all of that together with this song, and like, you know, I was
watching it and like thinking about some of the other lyrics, and like in my head I was like the and like the we could stay the night and sleep together. I was like, that would be meaningful to him. Not even like the sleeping together, but like being able to like not get your head pushed in like when you wake up next to her. Like that would be meaningful to you. It would be nice. Yeah. That is also, I hate to say that I'm impressed with the makers of this movie, because that's not always true. I wouldn't say that about 100% of the movie. I'm kind of surprised that they brought in like Dan Aykroyd, the fake brain surgeon, to be like, there is no like hope of like full recuperation to like return to the pre-crash Lucy. Like this is a new normal. This isn't. And like it's in some ways, especially because this is like a Sandler joint. Like I was kind of, you know, I guess in my head I was always thinking, love is more stronger than neurons or something. And they did commit to like, you know, in some sort of way there is a connection. Like they've both been like explicitly working together to make it work, and also there's like, she dreams of me, and we got our song and stuff. But I am surprised, because there are these moments where it's like, it seems like, I don't know, I just feel like she's maybe getting better. And then the surgeon just like, nope, you're wrong.
Yes, that won't happen.
Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if this movie ended with like her getting up on the Alaska boat and being like, another day here that I remember. Thank you for believing in me and making brain surgery to me through love. I will say the final thing I have here of one of my favorite moments that gives this rewatch value for me and leaves it as such a pleasant movie in my mind is that when the big final scene happens and Adam Sandler is wearing not the worst outfit that he's worn the whole movie, but it's pretty low on the list. He comes in and he's like, this, that, and the other. Do you remember me? I feel like all of us were expecting her to go, yes. And it's kind of like, even if it's not, she completely knows, she recognizes him in some way or like something. And the fact that it instead is kind of this idea of like, you've been appearing in my dreams, which is like, oh, that's something that we didn't think about. I very much did like the line, you're the girl of my dreams and apparently I'm the man of yours. I was like, good. But yeah, I think choosing that route instead of going what I think we all expected and probably would not have been surprised by her having some kind of breakthrough of like, whoa, she can remember things. I was impressed. Yeah. I think if I were writing the movie, I would have the moment where like one day like she wakes up and she's like, ugh, you're wearing that fucking shirt again? And that's how you realize, you remembered my shirt! You remembered my shirt from yesterday! Let's go! Accidentally in love! I thought I told you to throw that shit out. Wait! I remembered.
Okay, that would have been kind of funny.
It would have been pretty good.
Oh, man.
The movie can be good if you make it good. And I think that this movie could have been made. Yeah. And I don't even, like, my Letterboxd score of this movie is like 3 stars. Because, like, it's still a pleasant... I get a lot of enjoyment about, like, returning to these sorts of things. Yes. And, like, you know, I don't love... you know, some of the broader concepts that were beamed into millions of brains based on this movie. Yeah. Don't love that. Yeah. But living in this sort of material reality where that happened, I do like to go back and being like, okay, so this is where, you know, me and people like me got like certain ideas about stuff. Yeah. And I it's also just like, it's fun to be like, I thought this was really funny when I was 11. Let me check in and like see what's still funny.
Yeah.
Oh, it is still funny when Rob Schneider is like running away from Drew Barrymore with a baseball bat.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
the very funny sound mix of him far away just being like, you crazy bitch.
He did. There's one time where the shot is of her hitting him on the back and he goes, oh my eye.
It's really funny.
And I also really like Drew Barrymore is now talking to Adam Sandler and she's like, oh my god, hey, smiling, and she turns and goes, yeah, you better keep running.
Yeah.
And she turns back and just
funny.
Smiles and she's like, hey.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're an icon.
Yeah,
Lucy, you're amazing.
Like, I think that Rob Schneider yell from like over the hills was, I think, where I realized that is like a funny way to say things, like from far away.
Yeah.
Like that's why to this day in improv scenes, like I'm always like on the sidelines being like, I'm very far away.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Like that's always like I probably learned that from this movie.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I feel like I feel like we've said a lot. And I'd like to ask, do you have any kind of like final thoughts on 50 First Dates to kind of round it out? What's your if anybody listening takes anything away from what we say today, I don't know why I'm saying it like this. But what's your final thought? What's your if they skipped forward to the end, what do you want them to hear?
Yeah, so whether you've watched the movie or not, there's one thing that you need to know about, and it's Adam Sandler's Neo Matrix sunglasses that he wears in this movie.
Oh my god.
We've talked a lot of shit about like his shirt and his pants and stuff like that, but he put on the glasses that you put on to see the 3D elements at Gringotts at Universal Studios. Man. And also, there's a reveal like 2/3 of the way through the movie that Lucy also has really shitty sunglasses.
They're perfect for each other.
I know, it's beautiful.
I did write down Island of Bad Sunglasses.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, it's a beautiful movie about how sometimes you go on a day trip with your family to get a single pineapple.
Yeah.
And then you see a cow and everything ends.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I very much. I think we've kind of hit on this a couple of times. Huh?
Sorry, Beth. Go ahead. I found another note.
Oh, sick. Do you want to share it or do you want me?
I was gonna ask you because Can you imagine, like, you wake up one morning and you see a VHS tape because it's 2004.
Yeah.
And the tape starts with it's a black background and white text that just says, "Good morning, Kara. Everything is going to be okay." Like, and then you start to see, like, world events. Like, to me, that would be like a Saw movie.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that she's sad, but then she's like, "Oh, it's my family and my friends." I would be freaking losing it if it was... Good morning, Brooks, don't panic. Like, I would be like, look at,
yeah.
Here's look, Gangnam Style came out in 2012. You missed it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I imagine they probably upgraded their systems in,
I would hope.
It's probably like a Blu-ray now, maybe like a TikTok video, but it really struck me like I was watching a Saw movie.
What is insane to me is that we literally have the pivotal moment, the very important moment to me in the kind of like discussion of how are we going to deal with this moving forward, where Lucy reveals, "I love the video, it is nice. However, sometimes it feels like someone else is telling me what happened to me."
A powerful thought.
Yeah, this journal, it's like I'm telling myself. Mm-hmm. I'm reminding myself of my thoughts and feelings. I'm not having them fed to me. And it's like, wow.
Yeah. That's stupid. Throw it in the fire.
It's like, I'm sure that she probably still has a journal of some sort somewhere, but like, it's insane to me that the final kind of iteration we see of this video that we've decided is the way we're going to do it, she's still not involved in the making of it. She's kind of there because she gets to see her wedding, but it's like, there's not even like a clip of like her talking to herself being like, "Hey, like, what's up? Here's the situation."
Yeah, that's how I would do it, is I would have me being like, "Hey, bud, I know you're worried right now.
Yeah.
I know your tummy probably hurt. You're confused. But hey, man, here's some secrets that only you and I know. All right, now that you know that it's me for real and it's not a deep fake."
Yeah. Also, my husband wanted to say something. Come here, Henry. Say whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
Also, to not have the kid in the movie and to instead have her come up to the doc and be like, meet your child. Like, what?
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't. All right. And yeah, she's just like immediately was like, time to accept this kiss from my husband.
Yeah.
I was like, it takes all kinds, but I don't feel as if that would be my inkling at that time.
I get that, like, I guess the video is like a thing that we liked and we kind of wanted to keep it there, but I cannot believe that we didn't take into consideration how important it was to Lucy that she gets the information from herself. And
it's like, cool that they seem to like have accidentally left that in the script. Like that was like they were like, oh, we accidentally made her a character who's interesting.
No, quick, take that out.
We'll replace it with more scenes of like Rob Schneider's kids doing backflips into the water. Which,
hey, listen, they were pretty good.
They were pretty good backflips.
Yeah, they are also good at golf.
Can we add a couple more scenes of like dream sequences where Drew Barrymore like comes on to Adam Sandler and then we find out that it's a dream for no reason?
Oh man, I do love a misleading thing that ends up being a dream.
Yeah.
But like, I especially love when it's like not important.
Yeah, when she's like, you got hit in the head with a golf ball.
Yeah. Get wrecked. That's a pretty funny way to fall asleep.
Yeah, honestly, I don't mean to be like a big strong man on the podcast about it, but like I'm not getting clonked out and having a dream over a golf ball. If it's like you hit me with like a steel football or something like that. You like hit me if like a horse kicks me in the head. Like I'll have a dream for that.
Yeah.
Golf ball very small.
Yeah.
Golf ball hurt.
But
golf ball not making me have dream about... Golf ball small. I'm not having a dream about Drew Barrymore because of golf ball.
Nah. Golf ball would never make me have a dream about Drew Barrymore.
I would have to get hit with like some sort of meteor probably to have a dream about Drew Barrymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have to maybe like a football. Not a golf ball though. Certainly not.
No, not a golf ball. No. I would... If somebody threw a golf ball at me, I would simply catch it with my powerful teeth. And I would,
true.
Like Houdini himself.
Oh my gosh. I would dodge.
Oh, that's smarter. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. I would grab it between my thumb and forefinger, and then I would eat it. I would swallow it whole.
Yeah. Tasty. Yeah. What I was going to say before we went on that segue.
Yeah, that's what I got from the movie, a skill issue. That wouldn't happen to me.
Which was a good segue that I liked.
Yeah, please.
But I think we've kind of hit on it throughout this episode.
Yeah.
But I believe that to me, this movie still lives in my mind as a movie that I like, a movie that I enjoy, a movie that I would like to watch again. I think I am more aware of some of the issues with it compared to my last watching, which I think was in high school.
That'll do it.
Yeah. But a movie can be bad and good at the same time. This is a sentiment we've shared before here at Justice already. Things don't have to be either good or bad. They can have bad elements and also good elements, and that's fine. And we're all allowed to let nostalgia color our vision a little bit.
Yeah,
that's fine.
If I only had stuff on my Netflix queue that like were fully in line with like my ethics, it would be a very small queue.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of enjoyment about like engaging with media with where it's at and understanding it as like a fun story and also a media text that tells us about larger things that are going on in the world. This tells us a little bit about the sort of stories and values that certain people had in 2004.
Yeah. I believe at some point, hold on, let me find it. I wrote, this is a 2000s comedy, all right?
Yeah, that'll do it.
Wow.
Yeah. If Henry was my buddy in real life, I wouldn't be rocking with him.
Yeah.
But I'll watch this movie.
Yeah.
I'll have a smile when he daps up the walrus.
Yeah. It's the final shot of the entire movie is the walruses having a little kiss train. And it's so unnecessary, but it was so like,
yeah,
okay.
I know that we've given the creators of this movie a lot of credit and a lot of respect.
Yeah.
I kind of have a little bit of disrespect for because I really liked that they really like leaned into the romance. They were like, that's the crux of this movie. The comedy is sort of incidental.
Yeah.
Like there were also any big romantic moment, they had to get in like a like tension reducing quip or like bit.
Yeah.
Where like 10-second Tom would show up like during the big like run towards his wife. And even like at the end of the movie, it's like, it's like a beautiful quote unquote scene where like it's one of her good days and she loves being in Alaska.
Yeah.
And she's never had a bad day since then. And then it's like, I don't know if the Sandler hive is gonna like leaving a movie with a smile. What if let's make them laugh by making the walruses kiss.
One last chuckle for all the Sandler heads out there, all the sand heads. Mm-hmm. Is that what his fans are called?
That's what I call. Yeah, that's what I call myself. Yes.
Would you? Okay, so you're a sand head.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He's the Sandman. So you can't be Sandman.
I'm a sand boy.
You're a sand boy. Yeah. It's the Sandman and his sand boys. Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Adam, for your beautiful flick.
I do. I'm also coming to the realization as I look at my kind of notes for the outline and see final thanks to Brooks, and I realize you did introduce yourself at the beginning, but we actually never had a time to be like, Brooks, tell the people who you are.
I don't know. It's not important. It's about saying, hey, what's up?
This is the first time that he's been on the podcast. Everyone say hi.
Yeah, long time listener, first time co-host.
He's also my friend.
Yeah.
In real life.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, I actually met Kara through being her friend, and then that was
the best way to meet people.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah, I wish I could have taught Henry Roth to like, you can just like make a friend and be normal.
Yeah. But now that everybody knows who you are, thank you, Brooks, so much for coming on to the podcast and talking with me about 50 First Dates. I expect that we will see you many, many more times in the future.
I would love to.
Yeah.
You know that about me.
Yeah. I would like to, however, give you a chance to. Is there any if you want to like share how people can find you or anything like that, or if there's anything that you would like to plug, now's the time to do so.
Sure. If I guess if my cool movie opinions have been of use to you, if you want to hear more, I have a buttload of movie reviews over on Letterboxd. You can catch me over there.
Let's go.
Canopy Manatee is my name over there.
That's good.
Yeah, it's a long stupid story, but that's what people call me. Everybody calls me the Canopy Manatee. So
I've heard people call in real life.
I also do podcasts.
What?
That my buddy and our name is basically You Love to Hear It Productions. So if you search for You Love to Hear It on Twitter or Apple Podcasts, you should be able to find it.
Yeah.
But we got like Post Game of Thrones, which is our show about how we knew the Game of Thrones was bad before everybody else did.
That's right.
So you can go back and if you want to hear us just riffing about how that show was not very good.
Yeah, I think you're the first person to ever tell me that Game of Thrones was bad.
Yeah, I was on. We were really vindicated when that shit happened at the end, because we were like, the cracks have been there all along. You have to believe us. But the books are very good. Mm-hmm. I also do a music show called Fun Point and some anime shows called Chance Ball where we talk about haiku and stuff.
Yeah.
So if you like that, see you over there. If not, maybe I'll see you here some other time on the Flippy Dip. Respect.
I'll say that I've listened to some of Brooks's podcast stuff. It's funny, so like you guys should listen to it too.
Oh, thanks.
Now that you're done with me, go ahead and go put in your search and go find Brooks. Yeah. If you could like bounce between us.
Yeah.
You could like do. Oh, I'm gonna listen to this episode about beloved K-drama Coffee Prince.
Yeah.
With someone who isn't Brooks. Kara's there, but also it's not Brooks. It's Jaren instead.
Right.
And then you can pop over to listen to Brooks talk about something, and I'm not there, and it's
like,
whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah.
That's what I always say.
You can come to one of our shows. Both of us are probably
we do. Brooks is yet another member of my improv team, which is something that you've heard about from every single member
we
of
rounded
the
out
improv
the team finally. Yeah.
has been on the podcast now. So if you remember Kimmy and Dan, they are also on that same team, and so is Jaren, beloved past co-host of the show. Brooks is also there. So if you are in the area and want to see us, we do make funny on stage.
Yeah.
We don't just do this on the internet, believe me.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. Anyone else you want to shout out? Anybody who's living in your brain these days?
Shout out to Herman Melville, the author of Moby Dick.
Let's go.
I've been reading Moby Dick and it's been pretty good. How about you?
I Nope, I've never read it.
I was watching
I was
Adam
gonna
Sandler
lie.
on that boat, and I was like, "There's no way you built that boat. It's not reinforced for whales." We've been learning a lot about whales.
Wow.
But anybody else you want to shout out?
I'll shout out. I don't actually know if I've mentioned this on the pod. I'm sure I have because I mention it all of the time in my life.
Sure.
But my favorite musical act, Shiny. You should listen to them. They now have another album out. They at this time when this is posted, they have a cool new album out called Hard, and it's good. But if you listen to this in the future, they may have a different album out, which is awesome. Right. And you should listen to all of their music because it's all good, and I like them.
I can co-sign the song Juice. That's the one I've listened to, and it's good.
Yeah.
I'm sure the rest are good as well, but that one I can say.
I think you like me.
It's a good song.
I think you like me. It's good. All right, cool. Well, that's all. I think I've run out of things to say.
That's fine.
I'm never gonna talk again after this.
Yeah. We'll talk eventually. We'll figure out something. Else to talk about. But until then,
I have to stop talking for like a day, and then I can talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard because like right now, all I have to talk about is 51st Dates, and it's
yeah. And
so
I can't.
What did you
we
think
can't
about
do that twice.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's what's so fucking hard about like hanging out with another person. Is it's like
eventually
you run out of things from the movie to talk about.
That's right.
And it's like, we talked about 10 Second Tom. We talked about the Dan Aykroyd thing. We talked about the walrus vomit. That's pretty much everything.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go brainstorm things that we can talk about for. We're
gonna go stand in separate rooms, and then when somebody else has something new to talk about, we're gonna knock on the door, and then we'll reconvene.
Yeah. While we're doing that, you guys, if you're driving right now, get home safe. If you're not driving, then
if
the next time that you drive safe.
Drive safe. If you're not driving, get on over to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5 stars for your favorite guest host.
Yeah. Brooks.
That's right. And tell them Brooks sent you.
Yeah. If you enjoyed the episode, you can always tell us in the comment of wherever or review of wherever you're listening. We're on many platforms, so however you want to let us know, even if it's sending an email to justkisspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear that you like this. And if you don't like it, you can be mean, but just know that I might be sad. Yeah,
if you have any complaints, please forward those to Kimmy and Dan, who guested on the Crazy Stupid Love episode.
They're going to love to read them.
Yeah, they said that they actually want to get that, and Kara doesn't want that.
That's
and
right.
Nor do I.
That's right.
Keep that shit away from me. But you can say nice stuff if you want.
Exactly. All right. Bye, y'all. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Love you. Mwah. Do you want a mwah?
Mwah.
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 Hello.